Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, good welcome. Tick whichever one most applies to you, if you will, please.
I'm very good, thank you.
Yes, no, very good. Yeah,
I see that hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, it seems like a really lovely day outside, but I wouldn't really know that for myself because I'm stuck in here doing this. It's great.
Oh,
Thank you.
if you've got to be somewhere else you'd rather be.
Well, I'm not much of a sunbather, I suppose. So.
Well, it's not like unreasonable o'clock in the morning.
No, yes.
Or in the late evening. So by the time we finish this, you can go and enjoy yourself if you'd like to.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, you've got the whole of the rest of the day.
That's
At the time of recording, of course. At time of listening, who knows what your other pressures of life might be, and you may have to pause and come back later.
Who knows what the weather's like?
So you can go and enjoy the sunshine. Anyway, come on, let's focus.
Nice.
Good to hear you all. Good to be around the microphone again.
Yeah.
How's everybody?
Just had some work done on the house yesterday,
Oh,
so I spent the morning getting things ready to record again. So if everything's a little bit echoey, I've done my best to stop that. But
did you have to dismantle your computer equipment then?
yes, I had to I moved everything out of the room, and then I just literally set up my computer again this morning.
Wow, you've had a studio update
Exactly.
with new and improved equipment.
Yeah. I would have moved everything back yesterday, but I thought I'd have plenty of time today. But then, as midnight struck, I got a message from my father, you, saying, "Hey, should we record at 9 o'clock?" I was like, "Oh."
Okay. I had said that we'd have to record in the morning today. Anyway, listeners don't need to hear all this back.
I think they're very interested. Peek behind the curtain. Yeah.
And how's Ford?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Well, actually, because last night I was up till the late hours waiting for a text from you, of course.
Not reorganising your bedroom, were you? As well?
No, but over the last week, I've been I had a 7-day free trial subscription to Marvel Unlimited, where you can read as many comics as they've got digitally.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, which is great. I quite enjoyed it, but I don't use it enough, I don't think, to actually continue the subscription. So I was trying to cancel it last night, and it is literally impossiple.
No.
Literally. Yeah, I've cancelled things before, like Audible and stuff like that. This is you click. I had found two separate links to go to a cancel page, but one of them just carried on loading forever, and one of them just white screened on me. It's so annoying.
That's not a good endorsement then, is it? Marvel won't be happy to hear that.
Don't recommend.
Not that they're probably ever likely to hear this, but yeah.
Well, you can understand how they've made so much money, really, can't you?
Yeah. Once you're locked in, you can't get out. Yeah, it's like an escape room. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep, but there you go.
And you mentioned Audible. Have you come out of Audible?
Well, I go on and off with the subscription because I still like to listen to the books, but I can't afford to live that life.
Yeah. I had a recommendation from another one of our listeners. They're really enjoying listening to the Left Behind series on Audible. Apparently, very, very good. He'd read the books, or a good number of them, 4 or 5 of them. I think there's about 12 altogether. But has it really been enjoying listening again to them on Audible? So recommended it to me directly. Anyway, but we've got some other pickups, unless you want to mention anything about that.
I like audiobooks. Yeah.
I like audiobooks.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah, write it down.
Is there a song about that? I'm trying to think of that song. I like.
I like big butts.
I like audiobooks.
I like audiobooks and I cannot lie.
I like audiobooks and I cannot lie. Is it like that?
Just like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah, very good. Okay.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah. We all like a bit of audiobook every now and again.
Yes.
Right. Well, look, listen, we're wasting a lot of time here. We must get on because we've got quite a lot to fit into this episode. Our first one is an email we've had from your mumsy, as she likes to be known as. So who's going to read that to us?
That'll be me, I guess.
Go on, then. Go for it.
So it reads, "Hi all, I've just been watching Pixar's Tin Toy and Luxo Junior, the lamp one, on Disney Plus. I thought that when we watched them in the early 90s that they were brand new, so I was really shocked to see that the Tin Toy was made in 1988. And the Luxo Junior was 1986. Another one I saw a while ago was a Blue Peter clip from the 70s demonstrating a mobile phone. So my question to you is, are there any other pieces of technology that you are surprised how early they were introduced?
Wow, that's a great question.
There you go.
Can I just start with a couple of comments about that?
Oh, yes.
The first one is that, yes, the Luxo, the lamp, the bouncing lamp, I think was the first Pixar animation ever to be produced. So it doesn't surprise me that precedes Tin Toy.
Yes.
And to be honest, I didn't know Tin Toy was so closely following. And I would imagine the rendering times of those animations would have probably taken a couple of years on the technology that they had back then. That's the first comment. Yeah.
These are both what we would call shorts now.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Disney shorts. Or now they're Disney. They weren't Disney then. Pixar was on its own a company, or separate from Disney. I think Disney bought them out, didn't they? So that's the first thing I wanted to say. I would love to have seen that demonstration of the mobile phone. I'm sure it would have been quite an interesting battery pack size and everything. I remember my stepdad having the phone was the size of a brick and the battery was the size of a car battery that you carried around with you. And actually, to be fair, they weren't mobile phones; they were car phones that you just sat on the floor inside your car, because to walk around with them was not practical, really. So you just left it in your car, And what was the date on that? The 70s. Gosh, I didn't realise it was as far back as that. I didn't know the mobile network existed in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Unless it was just a concept of what a mobile phone might be. I don't know. But what would be great, the question at the end that your mum has for us, is there any other piece of technology that surprised you how early they were, would be a great subject for an actual segment, wouldn't it? So we can't talk too much about that now.
Mars bars.
The other little comment, I'm catching up with some of my Click episodes, the BBC News TV show that's on every weekend that looks at technology. It's about a 15-minute show every weekend, Click. And they've just had their 20th anniversary, but I'm a bit behind, so that was probably last April. In fact, I think they first broadcast on the 6th of April, my birthday, in the year 2000. So on the 6th of April this year, they had their 20th anniversary. And what they did in that special episode in April this year was they had a look back at each of those years. What were the major breakthroughs for each one of those last 20 years? And it was fascinating. So with some of that material, I could relay back in another segment that your mum is asking us to talk about. Surprise technology and how early they were. That would be great.
Mars bars.
You want to talk about Mars bars?
1932. Can you believe it?
Oh, wow. But is that technology? Yeah. It's confectionery.
Why are you spoiling this for me?
I suppose the technology existed to make a Mars bar.
There you go, yeah. That's like almost 100 years ago. That's madness.
Mass food production, yeah.
Well, there you go. That's what I have to say on that.
I think.
Oh, we are doing it now, are we? Come on, then.
Just real quick. I think something like anything space related. So like being able to see so far into space.
Yeah.
With technology, it's like we've been able to do that for quite a while now. Be able to see as far as it's possible to see, because obviously it takes ages for light to actually get to us.
Yeah.
I always thought that'd take ages to get, like, to be able to actually do that. But I don't know. It feels like we've been able to do that for a long time now.
Well,
it's really cool.
Yeah. If you think of the technology that was needed just to identify the planets in our solar system, probably in the 1800s or something, they were able to identify those planets. I think
we can like identify planets now that are like unbelievably far away that you can't even comprehend it, and it's just a bit crazy. Like obviously we can't get there, but just being able to like identify it and see what type of planet it is, or if it might be inhabitable or whatever it is. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Central heating.
Look, we're not doing it now, okay?
Oh,
We got plenty of time to work on that material. Yeah.
4,000 years ago.
They used to have pipes under the ground, didn't they?
He knows it
Underfloor
already.
heating.
Underfloor heating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
I
it
suppose
used to
that
be.
is technology. Yeah, that is a technology, isn't it? Yeah.
4,000.
Yeah, the Romans did it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Before the Romans, they had it.
Really?
Yeah, in some cultures.
Okay.
Cool.
All right then. Well, that's a great introduction. Let's now get down to what we came here for.
Devon's segment. Subject.
So today, just because of something that Ford said to me like a few minutes ago, I've decided to talk about something.
Yeah, I noticed your in our show notes. It's changed from what you were going to talk
Yeah,
about.
I'll save the other one for next week or something.
Okay.
Wow.
So my title
Is this
is
one?
"Am I Middle Class?" And it's not
Are you?
specific. No, it's not specifically me. But it's like I was wanting to talk about little things that we might consider middle class. Like me and Beck recently subscribed to a milk delivery service, so we've got a milkman now.
So middle
Oh,
class.
And
You've got to be
it's-
careful of those milkmen, I tell you.
I think these days milkmen could be considered middle class because you don't generally have a milkman, and it does cost a little bit more,
Yes.
but it tastes so good, man. I recommend.
But my question, that's what you were just drinking milk before we started.
Yeah, exactly. I was
recording,
drinking
weren't
some
you?
milkman
Now
milk.
you've got milk, man. You can drink milk.
Is it
Is it
super
more-
creamy?
Yeah, I get semi-skim still, so it's not like ridiculously creamy, but it's just tasty. You know, it's like I didn't think milk could taste so nice. You know. So my question is there anything that you guys have or do that is substantially a higher class than you would generally think that you are?
Then I actually fit naturally
dear.
into.
I'm looking here and it says typically home ownership. So I assume that means you have a mortgage, I guess. But yeah, I guess that would be me. I have a mortgage.
These boundaries are quite blurred for me, I think, because we are all working people. We working class in that sense.
Yeah.
But I can see that compared to some people, I am quite privileged and very blessed in. But does that dictate class? I don't know.
I think there's a lot of different things that can dictate it. Like obviously you got income, you got things like owning a house, but also like way of life and lifestyle. So if you
how many holidays you have and
how many
things like that.
holidays, what sports you're interested in, or all sorts can obviously all be considered middle class or working class.
I've
Is it
never
the accent that you speak
Yeah.
with. Can that? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's going somewhere.
I mean, I've
Carry on.
often been called middle class because of my accent.
Yeah,
Obviously,
same.
I've gone everywhere, and like if you go over to Scarborough, your accent is like very, very posh.
Too posh for Scarborough or Derby. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go down to West Sussex, where I used to live as well, you're just a little bit below average in poshness.
Below the
Wow.
line.
Yeah.
That's a bit below the belt. That was the accent belt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've never holidayed abroad. I feel like that's a good indicator whether you holiday abroad or not.
Yeah.
Because that's quite costly, isn't it? You know.
I don't know actually.
It's not too bad.
No, in fact, I'd have to disagree with you on that one, Ford, because
Really?
I think now, by not going abroad this year, we're going to be saving some money, but we are still hoping to. No, actually, the way around. Yeah, it's more expensive to holiday in the UK. That's right.
What?
It's going to cost us more this year because we can't go abroad. You know, you can go. You can get a flight for less than £100 return and
Oh, yeah.
hotel. You know, we can have a week in Spain somewhere for about £500 each. But
Wow.
you can easily spend that and more in
Cottage or something. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. I bet I spend £1,500 in the UK compared to £1,000 in Spain. I would imagine.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm not sure holiday abroad makes you middle class. It depends. I mean, there's so many different types. If you chartered a yacht, that might be a bit different. But
Yeah. Fair enough.
yeah, which is one of my dreams would be to charter a yacht.
I've just recently given in to my wife, and we're getting a cleaner.
Oh,
Yeah.
does that? Oh, so Devon's got a milkman and you've got a cleaner.
Well, not yet, but soon. Yeah.
Well, in some ways, that is more common than you think. I think because, and it's a good thing because you're providing employment.
Yeah.
And you are both working people, aren't you? You both work.
Yes.
So you're out the house all day, and if you've had done a long day's work, it's not always easy to do the jobs around the house that need to get done.
Oh, you sound like my wife.
Yeah.
That's what she's been saying to me for ages.
But the question is, when you begin a family, are you more entitled to a cleaner or less entitled to a cleaner? Because you lose an income, but you also have a lot more on your hands to deal with. So, yeah.
I guess I just won't be able
I'll
to have
let
a
you
kid.
work that one out, yeah. Is this answering your question, Devon?
Yeah, it's perfect.
I don't know where so let's go through the different class system, shall we? Right, where do we begin without being derogatory to anybody? Or, because this isn't, we didn't make this up. So we all know what middle class means, I think, although we're proving that we don't.
Yeah, not really.
What's upper class then? Plum in your mouth, not having to work because you've got enough money not to work.
Yeah, I think middle class people still work, but upper class people maybe they're just living on stocks or something like that.
I don't know. I think like a bank manager or something, like someone who goes into London maybe every now and again. I think they'd be considered upper class, but still they work.
Do you think
they're
if you had
the one percenters?
A six-figure salary compared to, so you're over 100,000 a year?
Possibly. I really don't know. I don't know where the line is.
I don't know what the official line on all this is. It'd be interesting to look into it, wouldn't it? What's below middle class then? Working class.
Working class, yeah.
Is there anything below working class?
Well, I've heard of lower class, but I don't know if that's the same as working class.
I don't know. Working class, I always think of people who like the dirty fingernail jobs like mine.
Right? Yeah. But you're doing quite well out of it, aren't you?
The dirty fingernail jobs can be quite lucrative. I think. It's like it's the supermarket jobs and things like that, fast food jobs that.
Oh, you don't get fingers dirty, and
that I would consider
food joints,
working class.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I suppose I might not be a working class because I own my own business. I suppose we have our own home, and we do go on holidays abroad when we can. So I guess I'm quite very definitely in the middle class bracket rather than the working class bracket.
I think
working class might be being an employee in a less than 20,000 a year job.
Ouch. When I started my job on an apprenticeship sort of level, it wasn't really an apprenticeship, a trainee. I got 24. So
that's quite good.
Yeah.
To begin with. How old were you then?
20 ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Be on 24 grand at 20 is not bad, I don't think, these days.
Well, okay, fair enough. I can only speak from my experience, so I don't really know.
When you think that some graduates are coming out of uni, older than that, and working in fast food joints,
Yeah, sad.
And you're not going to be earning 24 grand a year in a fast food joint.
No.
So, because you'd have to go and live in America.
Indeed.
As a garbage man.
We don't have fast food joints here, do we?
No, or garbage collectors. Anyway, listen to previous podcasts there. It's not a derogatory comment against people who collect our trash. Or it's just a joke from an earlier episode.
I think historically, over the years, as it were, these lines are being blurred more and more. I feel like the lower classes are being brought up. I don't know if the higher classes are being brought down at all. I suppose they are. If you think of any of 100 different classical literatures where the main characters are so deep in debt because they're gambling, or Downton Abbey, the characters in that, they have a really hard time keeping current, and their system just isn't compatible with the
aristocrats, isn't it?
That's
clearly defined. It's very clearly defined there, isn't it?
Because they never worked, did they, in those historical dramas? But now you'd have to.
Aristocracy, they were landowners, weren't they? So
exactly.
Yes,
that's no longer good enough anymore.
Yeah. Upper class is very clearly aristocracy, the landowners. Then you had your businessmen who would be middle class, and then you'd have the working class who were the employees. So that was a very clear and then you'd have the unemployed people and the paupers who were lower class. So it was very, very much more straightforward to clearly identify, wasn't it?
But I think the layman nowadays is we're not coughing and dying the death of thousands, are we?
cholera and
Yeah,
tuberculosis. And,
we've been
yeah.
brought right up almost along
Yeah.
the privileged aristocracy.
Oh,
Or even
gosh,
though we
yeah.
still have to work,
In this country, we all are in. Oh, I forgot the statistics now, so I'll make it up. We're all.
Okay.
Uh,
We'll have a made-up statistic around it.
we're all in the top 5%. Even somebody who's on that,
Well, yeah. Well, if you
benefit system is still in the top 5%
relative
wealthiest
to
people
the
in the
world,
world. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Even if you were, that one of the poorest people in the UK is still in the top 5%.
Yeah, I was talking to Beck about this the other day, because we were talking about people who are always complaining about, I don't know, this character is white in this film because they should have actually been Asian or whatever, so they get angry about that and then they tweet about that all day. It's like, if that's your number one concern, then we live in a pretty good country. We live in a good society if that is your main concern.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's probably, as you say, a lot less defined as it used to be. So it's quite hard to actually get into these little boxes, I'd say.
Yeah.
So probably even get even more so as we go on as well. As you obviously got things like universal healthcare and things like that.
So would you end up saying then that we're every class?
Oh
We're all the classes?
no!
Oh. I tried to draw a conclusion from this, but there we go. Shot down.
I think
Trying,
maybe one day we will be, but as right now, I think there's still a lot of privileges to coming from certain backgrounds, or for being in different classes that still exist than there is to be the lower class.
I think we've identified that it is more than just income and wealth.
Yeah.
But I did want to add one final comment, and that is that I hope nobody's taken any offence at anything we've said, because we're not deriding anybody. In fact, I see a great admiration for people who work in all manner of different career choices, or from whether it's serving in a fast food restaurant or whether it's collecting our refuse. I would take my hat off and appreciate every single one of those people. So yeah. So whether you are a consultant doctor in a hospital or a window cleaner, it doesn't matter to me. You equally valued. Yeah.
That being said, I live in it's not such a rich neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's like, would my neighbors being paid more in their job stop them from throwing their trash in my trash can?
Probably not. No. Or
So,
littering the pavement.
Or throwing glass at people's heads, as you've experienced.
Really?
When you visited.
Is class is class more a comment on our attitudes to society in which we live? But then I think wealthy people can throw rubbish out their Mercedes Benz just as much as anybody else. So
Yeah,
we got to be careful not to mix too many different
of course.
considerations into what makes different class structures work.
Yes,
So
but it's
come
obvious
back-
that money doesn't just fix all the problems. So
Yeah.
if because in nicer, in quotation marks, neighborhoods, you wouldn't just get people just filling up your willy bin with their rubbish.
Well, it's even that, but you see the front gardens are covered in rubbish and the weeds are growing and all that nonsense.
So yeah,
Wow.
so I think there's a lot, as we say, a lot of different factors. Obviously, not just money, as you say, but also your behaviour to your certain situation or your lifestyle
Society
or whatever
in
it
which you
is.
live. Yeah.
I think that's concluded. Cool.
That was an interesting conversation. Thank you.
Paps segment. Subject.
I've recently hit upon, and I play a certain number of games on my iPad that have been with me for years. One being SimCity Build It. I've got my own little, I suppose, for lack of a better word, a clan. But on that game, it's a club, and I'm the president of that club. And I'm doing pretty well in that game actually, because I've been on it for about 5 years. I visit it once, twice a day for probably 5 minutes at a time, just to keep up to date with everything I need to do on it. And then I've What else? I've done a couple of other games which involve delivering goods on a train. It's called Train Station 2, which is a great little game. Not quite so committed to that. I hit upon in those games. Sometimes you get adverts for other games, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so usually I do something that another person has to deliberately looks away from the screen whilst watching the advert, just to smite the intentions of the.
Wow.
I'm not even going to look at the screen while the advert runs, but sometimes I do look at the advert, and sometimes they're quite good actually. They must know, and I think they learn what intrigues you the most, don't they? But anyway, a game advert appeared whilst playing one of my other games that was like an emergency services game. I don't know if you've heard of this genre of gaming. Have you?
No.
Emergency games, and if you look on the
App Store.
App Store, and I've got into 2 new emergency service games, and I wanted to. I'm only introducing these to tell you a little bit about them, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Why these games I think are good.
Okay.
And how it affects our real lives. Yeah.
Oh.
One's called Emergency HQ, where you are in control of a fleet of emergency vehicles from fire, police, ambulance, and like tow truck as well. And you're presented with a little emergency scenario where a building or a car might be on fire, and you have to deploy the different services, and you click on the people and move them to where you want them, and they do what they do, and then you have to rescue anybody who's hurt and take them to hospital, things like that. That's really quite fun. Another one I've got, which actually I get a lot more excitement from playing now, it's called 911 Operator, so you can guess where that one is.
Yeah.
And the clever thing about this game is you are a controller in a emergency room setting. Okay.
Oh, it's kind of like a grid pan sort of map
If you
situation.
looked,
I just googled it.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah, a 911 operator, and you have these resources to hand. Again, fire, ambulance, police, and you get calls coming into you, and you allocate what services according to the calls. But also, whilst you're listening to the voices, and what's good about this, graphically, it's not very exciting, though it's very well done. Nice and smooth and beautifully illustrated, but it's not very enthralling. You don't see the emergencies happening, but you hear them, and the audio is very authentic. In fact, I think they've either used live recordings or of people ringing into an emergency operator, or they've reenacted the dialogue, acted it out, but you used real life scenarios, and it causes you. The reason I'm bringing this as a segment subject is how I think these games, and we hit upon it when I was doing that gaming terms glossary, this genre of games that are real-time strategy games. Is that right? Would you call them that?
Yeah.
Strategy, as in I've got to choose what happens and which order things happen in.
Yeah. Real time means it's not turn based or anything. It's happening.
Yes, that's right. So real time's correct, and I think strategy is correct. So I would classify them as real time strategy. Would you agree, Ford?
Yes. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Why not? And I think in my everyday life, playing these games, it's a bit like doing a crossword keeps your brain active. I think there are some good things to come from playing games that cause you to figure out sequences of decisions that you have to make.
Right.
Now, in my own work life, I have a list of customers and a list of tasks and a list of. I've got jobs that require me to physically be there. I've got admin jobs to sort out and administration of my business. And I've got phone calls to make, and I've got places to go to pick up materials, things like that. So there are lots of decisions that I need to make in my everyday life.
Do you have a big blue map with a and you tell people, go there.
Go and mow that lawn. Go and clean that housing scheme. Yeah, go and fix that window.
There's an emergency hedge that's gotten too big.
Yeah.
Get on.
Yeah. 911, what's your emergency? My hedge is growing too fast. Yeah, they should make it. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Wow. It wouldn't be work
Pause
anymore,
to
would it?
think about that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering about what leisure activities do we do? And I'm thinking more gaming leisure activities. And what are the consequences of playing those things? Do you see any benefits for in your real life? That's the ultimate point of my discussion.
Wow.
It took me 6 minutes to explain the segment, but that's what I wanted to talk about.
Well, okay. Huh.
Any thoughts? No. Oh, dead end. Okay, now we're going to talk to Ford. Now, what's your segment? Can you think of anything?
Anything that is part of the game that helps you in real life?
Yeah, I think so. Do you understand? You've heard that thing about people who do crosswords are less likely to suffer from dementia in old age, or
Yes.
play Scrabble and things like that.
Yes.
I think your brain is a muscle. Yeah, and I think by using it, stretching it, exercising it, and these games I've just briefly shared, all cause me, all of them actually, the 4 I mentioned, all have an element of planning and preparation and foretelling what's going to happen, timings of things. You know, well, I'm going to initiate that action so that can happen next, so that can happen. I've got this deadline that I want to meet, or in the emergency one, you know, which are the priorities between somebody's got a cat stuck up a tree or somebody's just sawn off their leg in a workshop, you know, or
Why would they do that?
if there's a warehouse on fire, or if there's a cooker on fire, you know, a chip pan fire, you know, where do you send your fire engine first?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So those cause me to use my brain. I think by doing that, I feel that my brain is being exercised. What benefits do you think you get? You perhaps play different types of games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that there are any out of game benefits to some of the games that you play?
Would you say getting stressed is a benefit?
Well, they do say stress isn't a bad thing as long as it's in moderation, as long as you don't live your life perpetually stressed.
I find games more stressful than my real life. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Describe that stress to me. Tell me about your childhood.
He's stressed that I'm going to come and destroy his base or something.
Oh, right. In what game is that?
Any game. Even if I don't have a base, I'm scared he's going to... Even if we're working together, you know?
Yeah. Just out of spite.
No. Yeah, no, you can get a lot of brain games, can't you, now? Or apps that
Yeah,
sort
that's
of...
true. They advertise them as such, don't they? Yeah.
They're more directly geared towards that sort of thing, but yeah.
Yeah, used to play this brain game on Facebook where it literally had like you got to memorize different patterns of things and put them in, and the fastest you could do all these challenges, and you're going to like a leaderboard. You have like a world record type thing, so it would compete against your family. That was quite good.
Yeah.
But obviously, I primarily play Counter-Strike,
Shooting game,
which is very different to a game like this. There hasn't been any studies that say a game like Counter-Strike actually helps dramatically in real life in terms of like reactions and things. Yeah, you strategize and you have to do quick thinking and all sorts. Everything that you said, I was actually thinking, you have to do that on Counter-Strike but quicker. So like in a second, you've got to make all these decisions. But I don't know if that actually would help much in real life situations. I don't know. Maybe it keeps your brain young, as you say.
Do you have to deliver coal in Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
or build textiles. And,
Speaking of textiles, Minecraft, that's very creatively based, you know.
It is.
You've got
to mention that if neither of you did. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say that really inflames your sense of creativity.
Yeah. Creative.
probably not in any other respect, but yeah, creativity is quite handy.
Yeah.
I think all games probably have that in a minor way because it forces you to think in a different way in which you're thinking now, and I think that's important.
I genuinely believe that our great benefits to playing computer games in our everyday lives is the thrust I'm coming at this conversation from. Just to identify some of them. I'm surprised you say there's no evidence that playing fast shooting, or we could say driving games, includes your reactions and response times. No, there's no evidence for that.
There's no actual evidence that says that. No.
Right. Okay.
But it probably does, but they just haven't
I
found
would
anything.
imagine it would. Yeah. I mean, if you are choosing a career path as a soldier or a police officer, for example, two sort of, probably the only two, or a criminal, then being good at a shooting game is probably going to be quite helpful to you, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Not that we endorse people playing Counter-Strike so they can learn to be criminals. Like the Formula One drivers practice when they can't be in a sim or at an actual racetrack, they will practice on PlayStation games.
Yeah,
probably Xbox games as well. I don't know what their preference is, but they will sit there because they can learn the track. They can. Now we're not going to we don't need to learn the Silverstone racetrack ins and outs and its absolute intricacies of every corner because we're not going to ride around that racetrack, are we? I think there are benefits to all gaming experience.
Okay. I've done a bit of minor research, and here's a few things you might be interested in.
Okay.
Video games may help slow aging,
Wow.
better decision making, can help not hurt your eyesight. It can
say that again. Can help.
Help not
hurt
your eyesight, not hurt it.
That's a weird way of saying that.
Yeah. Anyway,
And prevent eyesight deterioration. Is that a better way of saying it?
Essentially, yeah. But it's a common misconception, essentially, that playing video games can hurt your eyesight.
Bad for your eyes. Yeah.
Bad for your eyes. Yeah. It can make you less antisocial.
Yeah, especially these days. I think originally when computer games came out, they were very solitary. But now I believe it is quite a social experience, isn't it?
Enhance your ability to learn, which is kind of what you're talking about, isn't it?
Indeed, yeah.
Improve hand-eye coordination.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Improve focus and attention.
Yeah.
It may help with anti-depression.
Yeah.
It can help you stay fit. I don't know how that's possible.
Unless you're playing on the old Wii
Sports,
Fitballs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wii Sports.
Fair enough.
Is there a modern day equivalent to that? Because that's the only one that really. I mean, VR gaming can be quite physical.
Yeah.
You stood up and you're moving about a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that is the modern day equivalent, isn't it? Yeah.
And the last one it says here is video games can help couples, but I don't know again how that.
We don't want to go down that route, do we?
How does video games help
I don't
couples?
play that sort of game. I've heard about them, but I don't know. Why.
Oh dear.
Not that
There you
kind of
go.
VR game. Yeah. Okay.
No. So there's like 10 there. That's quite.
That's interesting. Thank
Whatever.
you.
So people have looked into it. I don't know if that's a reputable study source, but there you go.
Okay.
No, I can't think of any examples. No.
Okay. Well,
conclusion.
no, those are good examples. Anything else, Devon, you wanted to add?
I wanted to
Well,
quickly clarify when I said there's not really much evidence. I mean, like academic studies. That's this kind of thing. There's a lot of like anecdotal YouTube videos of say a pro CS player doing a reaction test compared to just an average person who's not a pro CS player or whatever. And obviously the pro CS player has a better reaction time.
Yeah.
But I think they're just yet to actually just do a good academic study on it.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's because academics don't like shooting games. That's why there's no study on it. Yeah.
They're biased against them.
They're probably playing Scrabble. Okay.
Well,
Excellent.
Listen, we've talked longer than I expected. Thank you for your inputs on that.
Thank you.
Fords segment subject.
Okay, for my segment, I've titled it Most Annoying Characters, and I'm thinking TV shows and films. So, Paps and Devon, if you could go into my notes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And at the bottom, you'll see a link.
Yes. Am I right in saying that the link to this will be in the description? So
Oh,
Yes.
hop on in.
That's a good
so you
idea,
can
yeah.
see.
Let's do that.
yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
let me
oh,
click on that.
Does anything come to mind when I say that? By the way,
Jar Jar
TV
Binks.
show.
Yeah.
Walter White's wife, Skylar.
Oh yeah, she's annoying, isn't she? Anyway, I've linked us to an article that I came across the other day where it's on the Ranker website, and they've ranked the most annoying characters in TV show history or whatever. I just wanted to talk through them really. I just thought it was interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Barney.
Barney is number 5. I didn't think Barney was that
I
annoying.
didn't think he was annoying.
I was going to say any character played by Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah,
This guy's funny.
yeah.
I hate Nicolas Cage. Sorry, Nicolas Cage, if you're listening. Nothing
You're not.
personal.
You're not sorry. It is personal.
Yeah.
I don't much like Nicolas Cage either.
Oh, good. Oh, there's little pictures which are helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
at the very
I don't think. Yeah, go on then. We're going to talk about each one in turn.
well, only ones that jump out to us. At the very top, you've got Joffrey
Yeah, I
For-
don't
from-
find him annoying.
from Game of Thrones.
Why is he at number 1?
I don't know why he's
Um,
number 1. I don't think he's
I-
annoying. I think he's like a nasty
You
man.
dislike him. Yeah, you dislike him, but annoying is not the right word, I don't think.
No, he's a great villain, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's so careless.
Yeah, he's just evil.
Yeah, I think scanning this list, there's a few others that would also fit that category, like Nellie Olsen from Little House on the Prairie, and
Oh
Buzz.
yeah, yeah. She's a villain, isn't she? Essentially,
yeah,
she's
So-
the antagonist.
you have to dislike villains, don't you?
But
Yeah.
Nellie's a bit whiny.
She is very whiny. Yeah, to be
She's a
fair.
bit annoying. I haven't watched a huge amount of Little House on the Prairie, but I know someone who has. But
Okay, yeah, Nellie Olsen is annoying. You're right, yeah.
Mm.
But Joffrey isn't annoying. You just hate him, don't you?
Yeah.
Because he's evil.
Mm.
Annoying people don't have to be evil, do they? Like
about
Jar
Ross?
Jar Binks.
Ross Geller clocks in at 24 here from Friends. You know,
why?
I thought he was relatively likable. I mean, they all get a bit silly, don't they?
Yeah.
I know you probably haven't seen a lot of Friends, have you? Perhaps,
No.
Yeah.
Thankfully, yeah.
or you find them all annoying. I don't know. Probably.
Biff Tanner from Back to the Future.
Wow.
Ah,
those two
yeah.
confused. Yeah. Is it again? Biff Tanner is not annoying. He's just a bad guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Theon
yeah.
Greyjoy, I think, might be annoying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The annoying orange should be at number 2.
The annoying orange.
Yeah, his literal job
What-
is to be annoying.
Number
What's-
what? What?
Number like
Can't remember.
44. Yeah.
Oh, you're all the way down there.
I don't
That's
know
a
that.
YouTube series called The Annoying Orange.
Well, who's going to know that?
A lot of
Well,
people.
apparently people on
apparently.
here, yeah. He's very
11,000
annoying.
people. 11,000 people have voted for them.
And Honey Boo Boo's annoying as well.
You have to mention their number alongside.
43,
the
just above annoying orange.
Yeah.
43. Never seen that.
Honey Boo Boo
That's
Child.
I'm surprised to see the entire cast, well, the 3 main characters from Twilight. I thought they were pretty well liked, you know?
No. I don't think anyone from Twilight is well liked.
There's another
Well.
Game of Thrones character at number 68.
68.
There
Who's
was
that?
Theon as well before.
Yeah, we've mentioned Theon, haven't we?
Viserys Targaryen. The brother for
Oh, he was
Oh,
very
yeah.
annoying.
He died in
Again,
season 1.
was he
Yeah.
annoying or was he just evil?
He's a whingy kind of character, you know? Very privileged.
You see, some bad guys you like, don't you? You like the bad guy because they are. I think sometimes good guys could be more annoying than bad guys. Wesley Crusher is annoying from
Oh.
Star Trek. He's at number 100.
Wow, yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
SpongeBob is so low down.
Do you
Like-
think he's annoying?
Well, yeah. He's very annoying.
Because you're not American. Americans.
But if
love-
you heard his laugh, though, I mean, I enjoy some SpongeBob as well, but he's annoying. He's supposed to be annoying.
I think when you're talking kids like TV show characters, they're supposed to be kid-like, aren't they? I think it's very harsh to put kids characters on this list.
What's an interesting list? There's a lot on here I don't know.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker's at 113.
Anakin.
13.
Yeah.
He's He's the best.
They're talking about Darth Vader.
Darth
not
Vader.
talking about him.
How can Darth Vader be annoying? He's the most iconic
not
villain in the
annoying.
universe.
But Darth Vader's
Yeah.
not in the Clone Wars.
Oh. Anyway, I'll just link this list. Can you think of any personally, or is that that?
Yeah, I see that Scooby Dum. That's not Scooby Doo. There's a different Scooby Doo. I know that
Yeah,
Scrappy Doo was on there.
I'm trying to think.
I don't know
Someone-
my Scooby-Doo lore as much as I should.
So-
I'm afraid.
I've been talking about Vikings quite a lot on the podcast, and there's this lady
Yeah,
who
yeah.
comes in
Yeah.
and takes the main character as her husband, even though he's already married, and he's like, "Oh,
Oh.
she's going to give me children." He doesn't actually like her, but like, "Oh, she's going to give me children," and she's so annoying. So then she drives away the main character lady, and it's so annoying. It's annoying that she's gone, and it's annoying that this new lady's there because she's very annoying basically.
What's her name?
Quenthrith from Vikings.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a little bit niche for me. I don't know who else.
Yes.
will
If
know.
you've watched Vikings,
Yeah.
Vikings is quite popular, you know. But yeah, if you watch Vikings,
Yeah.
then that one. Yeah.
So
She's very
one person I'm amazed not to see on here is Pippin from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Everyone who likes Lord of the Rings hates Pippin, but he's not on here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm not big on Lord of the Rings, and funnily enough, I was thinking of going to the cinema. It's showing at the moment a re-release of it at the cinema, and I was thinking of going to
Is
see
it really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think they're showing all three Lord of the
Wow.
Rings on
Is that the
IMAX as well.
Director's cut, extended edition.
I don't know, to be honest, but I know it's available for me to watch at the moment. But
Wow.
yeah,
I don't know
I
how
can't think of
Prince
anybody
Hans
else
is
off the top of my list.
Prince Hans from Frozen isn't actually annoying, is he?
No.
He's just a bad guy. He's number 14.
Yeah, is there any annoying characters in Doctor Who, Ford? Because I didn't see any from
Oh,
Doctor Who in this list.
That's a good point. Jodie Whittaker, the Doctor currently.
Oh yeah, the new Doctor. Yes, yes. Now I think that's true, actually. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh,
I think she's overacting most of the time. Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, and it's a bit annoying. I haven't really got into that at all.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
Who was the?
I wish she'd
Did-
played a more chilled
Yeah.
Doctor Who. Yeah.
Who was the ginger? Multiple ginger one.
Assistant.
Yeah.
Thingy.
But not Amy Pond.
Oh yes,
Yeah. Oh, she's
Donna.
famous comedian.
Donna.
Donna Noble.
She was
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't. Catherine Tate, is it?
Catherine Tate,
Yes.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the
her
actress,
whole
yeah.
persona is annoying. She tries to play annoying
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah. She's my least favorite assistant. I think.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I think they're completely wrong about number one. Definitely. I don't know why you would cut Joffrey Baratheon does not fit the annoying character. He's an evil character.
Yeah.
And we hate him for it.
Yeah.
He
But
doesn't
you're very
annoy us.
supposed. You're definitely supposed to be, aren't you?
Whereas Jar Jar Binks, he wouldn't hurt the hair on anybody's head, but he absolutely deserves to be where he is at number 2 or the next one up.
Yeah.
He was our first, when Ford asked the question right at the beginning of this segment, you beat me to it, Devon, but I was immediately going to say Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
Wow.
he epitomises annoyingness. you say?
Yeah.
Well put, sir.
But he's not an evil character,
No.
so why put him alongside an evil character? I'm sorry to draw this to an abruption, but
No,
we
do
are
it.
running out of time.
Kill it.
An abruption, is that the right word? Thank you,
All right, then.
Ford.
And now it's time for Random Chatting.
So we're come now to the bit I've been looking forward to most.
Oh.
Our homework time.
Yay.
And we this week, this episode, we are looking at the film called Contact,
Yes.
1997 production, starring Jodie Foster. So we got a great response actually from a listener.
Yes.
Took us upon our challenge in our last episode about watching the film for yourselves, so we can have some extra contribution to talk about now into our homework, which was to watch and review, share our thoughts on this film Contact. So Who's going to read that email out to us?
I
Would
was
you like
going, yeah, I was going to read
Devon?
this out. Yes.
Yeah.
This is an email from Let the Wookie Win. It says, "Hi, Theory of Anything. Decided to take you up on your challenge of reviewing the film Contact. Never watched it before, so I didn't really know what it was about. So a few thoughts. I really liked how they built up Eddie's character. She was very believable and perfectly played by Jodie Foster. You could feel her sincere passion, but also how hurt she was at being continually overlooked, without coming across as just a spoilt child. There wasn't an overuse of flashbacks either, but enough for us to get to know where her dreams comes from. Her candor and emotions balance brilliantly so that she's likable, has integrity, and is genuine. It is frustrating that she would be mocked each time and then people would take credit later, but she had dignity and stayed committed. There is a lot of interesting discussions about science versus religion and fact versus faith. It brings up many questions and allows the viewer to ponder these without forcing the maker's answers or opinions on them. It seems to say that there is no black and white answer, and that those of faith and those of science have more in common than perhaps either of them would like to admit. I also thought that it was thoughtful in representing so many different views, extreme or otherwise. I also felt that for an older film, the use of special effects and actual Clinton speeches chopped in to be clever. So the special effects and the things clever. It certainly has high targets to meet in terms of showing travel to another alien world. In some ways, I thought it worked, like the space rides or with the pod changing colour. And in other ways, I was underwhelmed, like what the aliens looked like after all that build-up. However, I get that having her father as a front was a way out of that problem of deciding what they should look like. Designing an alien would get criticism either way, like a little green man or just not believable at all. Finally, some points of criticism again. The dialogue was at times very fast and difficult to follow. People often talked over each other. I also felt that there were times when the film dragged on too long unnecessarily. It didn't need to be as long as it was. These included when she was in the pod and keeps saying, "I'm okay to go," or when she's sitting in the desert several times over. Overall, I did enjoy it and would watch it again. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks.
Brilliant. Well written, I think. Good
Yeah.
email. Yeah, thank you. We'll let the Wookiee win.
Yep.
Now let's think about what it says, shall we? Was there anything either of you wanted to pick up? I have got so much I want to talk about on this film. It's probably one of my top 3 favourite films. I would go as far as to say that maybe my second favourite film of all time, because the more times I've watched it, the more I've enjoyed it. I think that says a lot about a film if you can enjoy it again and again.
Should we do a brief recap of what the plot is essentially?
Yes, why don't you?
Okay. So it's a film about a woman. She's really interested in a SETI program where they're looking for extraterrestrial life, and she's being mocked quite heavily because she's invested so much time and effort into it.
Community, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. So eventually, she actually gets something. She gets a signal, and it's all very exciting. And then they discover, or spoilers for the movie ahead, by the way. She discovers that there's blueprints in this signal, and they start to build this giant machine. She goes. The end.
Yeah. Thought-provoking chaos ensues. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I think there's 3 different ways we can talk about this film.
Wow.
You can talk about it technically, as far as for a 1997 film to have so many brilliant special effects, and I'll identify some of them, I think, very quickly. I think that's maybe the least interesting aspect of it.
You reckon?
Yeah. From an importance of it, because there are other films which got more special effects, but I think there are some which I need to talk about a little bit. I think you can talk about it from the faith v science perspective. The 2 main characters in it, or 2 of the main characters in it, have very different views. It's a subject we come back to quite regularly on Theory of Anything, isn't it?
We do, don't we? Yeah.
So it seems to crop up every now and again. And then the third thing is just as a story, and about the whole ideas that it portrays So where do we start?
I watched this film a fair few years ago now, and at the time I thought it was slow and pretentious and rather dull. and now I've seen it twice, so yeah.
And you still think the same thing?
So that's good, isn't it? What do you guys think?
So pretentious and dull. Okay. Nothing's changed there.
I thought it wouldn't be your cup of tea.
Yeah, I have a quote here from somebody about something. It says, "This sucks."
You are
yeah,
joking.
I think that says it all, really.
Oh. What was your thoughts for Devon? Sorry.
I like the film. I like it quite a lot.
Good.
I feel like the way
Right
that they I feel like the way that they put little seeds here and there, but then yet they actually build on that over and over again. So, like the first contact came through as just a noise, and it was just a wave of whatever. It's like just random noise. So in that they had to then piece together all these puzzles and everything. So it's like an actual journey, an actual puzzle that you're watching the people work out. I actually quite enjoyed that quite a lot. My favourite part of the film is when she's on her way in space in the ship, and the chair breaks off, and suddenly there's peace. And it's like that's just classic humans thinking they know better, thinking oh no, and it's not in the design, but we need to throw some safety features in there. We need to throw a chair in there and all this sorts. But as soon as that's out of the way, then it's like oh okay, now it's just smooth sailing. Like, all
that was quite good,
because of the
very clever,
because of the intervention that
beautiful
humans
done
had.
effect as well.
Yeah, that's my favourite part of the film anyway. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, humans don't know best. Yeah.
I like. There's a really amazing quote that she says during that scene when she's looking out at the universe on her way to this planet or whatever, and she says, "So beautiful. They should have sent a poet.
Yes.
I had no idea."
Yeah. I've written that in my notes, and they should have sent a poet. Yeah. What a great line! There are so many great lines in this.
She's just staring at this amazing nexus of who knows what. It's really cool.
Yeah, she doesn't have the words to describe it.
No. Beautiful line. Yeah. Can I pick up on a couple of things that I agree with that our contributor wrote, and I also one or two things that I have to take issue with.
Okay.
The characterization of Ellie is really well done. I think Jodie Foster plays her really well, and the young actress who plays her as a child as well, beautifully well played.
Hang on, what?
What? Yeah.
She just delivers her lines like a text-to-speech program.
Marvelous child actor. The expressions she doesn't need. It's not her lines that are well delivered. Well, they are. Well, I think they're well delivered, but I think her whole mannerisms and her characterization is really, really beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got a very different vibe from the child actor.
Okay. And some of the most important and special effects, I think, involve her. You know?
Yes. Oh, yes. I believe you're thinking of the same one I'm thinking of. Do you want to talk about it?
The biggest one that impacted me, and there are some great special effects in this film.
Yeah.
The one that impacted me the most and made me go wow, and I thought I've not seen that before. Is when she's running up the stairs.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. That is.
And I've watched the DVD extras by the special effects creators that tell you how they did it, and I still don't know how they did it.
So essentially, what happens is we see her running towards us in slow motion. She reaches out her hand because she's running to get some pills for her father because her father's dying. Essentially, she's reaching out her hand, and then the camera draws back, and we realise that we're actually looking at her through the mirror.
Yeah.
And then the cabinet door for the mirror swings open. You see all these drugs that are lying there. She grabs them. The camera stays on the cabinet. The door swings back shut, and we see a photo frame through the mirror on the side of the two, and it's heart-wrenching, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just don't. If you're not watching it intently, you don't notice the most important thing.
I was about to say that.
How did the camera go from running in front of her
up the stairs,
up the stairs, and then be looking in the mirror?
Yeah, I had to rewind it because I was watching it with my wife, and she didn't see it. She didn't even notice. I was like, "Did you see that?" Because I was waiting for it. And she was like,
That's
"What?"
the beauty. That's what makes a special effect beautiful. Is you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Unless you're concentrating. Yeah.
Technically brilliant and very like emotionally.
And emotionally deep. Yeah. Thank you.
I'll give it that.
I think that's my highlight of the film. I know you mentioned it's funny how two small things say a lot. The chair, as you said in the pod, and that the mirror sequence is. I mean, there are other special effects that are also impressive, but for time we won't have time to go through them. Now our contributor says about the characterization. I'm just quickly looking through everything else that was said. The stuff about seeing her father, the aliens representing themselves as her father, is really well done, I think. Did you notice that beach that she appears on is the same beach that she drew in the picture at the beginning? And let me just see where it was. It was Pensacola Beach in Florida that she drew, because that was the same place that she made contact, or the most distant contact she'd made as a radio ham. And the fact that the young Ellie was obsessed with the stars because of the telescope, and obsessed with communications because of her radio, goes on to become a radio telescope engineer or explorer. I thought that was all well written, you know. Staying on the email that we read, I disagree. The only thing I disagree with the criticism at the end, that people are often talking over each other. I'm thinking that that's referring to the chaos that's meant to be being portrayed when they find the signal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Within the scientists, I think when she first hears the signal, when she's sat out in the middle of the desert, and the camera zooms in on her eyes, and she hears that beautiful sound of the signal, and then she jumps in a car and radios ahead to the station, where they're all based, you know, and there's lots of chaos then, which includes another one of my favourite lines.
Oh yeah.
One of the technicians says, I'm just looking for it. They're deciphering if the signals come from Vega, that's not an old enough system for them to have technology, and besides there'll be too many asteroids floating about and stuff. And the other guy says, not if they use their laser blasters and photon torpedoes. some great humor in there as well. Yeah. That's another good line. But the criticism was that there was the dialogue was too fast, but I think that just was deliberate to give over that impression of chaos. You know, this is a signal from space, evidence of other life for the first time.
It does make it hard to follow, though. I mean, when
you don't need to.
No, but when the guys come in and Ellie's trying to explain to the government chap, that's when we're supposed to understand. And even then, it's very chaotic, and I'm still not getting what you're talking about, you know?
I felt I understood what was going on, and I felt I understood the urgency of it and the importance of it more because it was frantic, you know? And if you don't catch it all, you have to just go and watch the film again and again and again and again, like I have. If you're interested in that detail. Well, anyway, apart from that, thank you. Great creds to the contributor of our email. The special effects of Clinton's speeches were brilliant. Very well done.
Yeah.
I didn't think that added much to it, though.
I think it adds, and listening to the commentary, Jodie Foster's commentary on it, I think the reason it's important, and they were actually taken from real speeches that Clinton made when they brought back rock from Mars that showed some forms of fossilized life or suspected fossilized life. So those words he's using are relating to evidence of other life existing in our solar system. So what it added was that it made it. Remember, this is in 1997, so to have a current president showing that this isn't just some made-up president. Yeah. This could happen today. In other words, when that film came out, it could happen now, because it wasn't like one of our other generic fictional presidents like Morgan Freeman or something like that. You know what I mean? From other films. Yeah. This was a real president as a character in this film.
Yeah.
Anyway, I felt like because it was using real footage, it pulled me out. If that makes sense, it made it feel fake because the shots and everything were deliberately not showing. No, from the film, we're seeing it from a TV or something like that. We're seeing fake shots. If that makes sense, it felt like it dragged me away. You know.
It's real footage of the president, but
Yeah.
they've superimposed it over backdrops of our film actors in the film. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but the way they did it all, it wasn't high definition, was it? It was like you were watching it on a analog television set.
Yeah.
To give that kind of pixelated feel, you know, like an old-fashioned television set.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I kind of know what you mean there, Ford, because like you know that Jodie Foster wasn't standing next to Clinton, so it's like when you see them together, it's like, well, this obviously didn't happen. It kind of pulls you out a little bit. It's like it's a bit implausible. So I kind of get what you're saying for sure. I personally liked the inclusion of it, but
Fair
I can
enough.
see how it would pull you out.
Religious people in this film are not displayed very nicely, are they?
Don't you think Matthew McConaughey's character, Palmer Joss, is portrayed well?
He's the only one,
He's
maybe.
the only religious person.
Well, he's the sensible religious person, isn't he?
Yeah, but every other religious person is not sensible.
No, they're whack jobs, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then he says 95% of the world believe in something, therefore you as a scientist don't get to go. It's like, okay, the world is against scientists all of a sudden. I mean,
he
that
doesn't want her to go because he loves her.
I know.
Yeah.
But
He's
it's
using
like
an argument that's irrelevant, but it puts doubt in the selection, doesn't it? Yeah.
But it paints the picture that religion is hardcore against science. You know what I mean?
It maybe says more about the Americans then and now. Anyway.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, actually, no, humans suck in this film. Just in general. Like, people are so mean to our main character.
Yeah.
That's because she's asking them for billions of dollars to be able to spend.
No, not just that. Like people, like the guy, the head honcho of the program, is like, "You're crazy. Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about, or whatever." And then she discovers something.
Tom Skerritt character who.
Yeah, and then he comes in and says, "Right, yes, I was behind this the entire time. I'm going to take over and whatnot."
Yeah.
But it's
and
like
everyone's like that.
It feels like it do be like that sometimes.
Oh, that's real life for you, is it?
I feel like sometimes,
Exactly.
I feel like people take credit for things that they didn't actually directly work on. So their employees or the people under them directly worked on it, or even obviously in this case, someone they just fired got it and then pretend that they didn't work on it.
Would probably be better suited to do the things that were asked of him, including go on the mission. But it's like, who has the right to go and who should go? You know, that was the arguments I think were being questioned there. You know,
But you get the feeling throughout the entire film that whose name's going to be remembered throughout history, not our main character, essentially. Yeah. And yet she's the one who did everything, essentially. She figured out what it all means and all that.
That's part of the battle, isn't it, that we're seeing portrayed, you know.
And then, to rub salt in the wound, a little bit spoiler alert, no one believes her when she does go, because surely the aliens can't do X, Y, and Z, and other humans think they know better type thing. Because she obviously disappeared for like a fraction of a second, but she experienced like 18 hours, I think it was.
Yeah.
So like, that's impossible. It didn't happen. You're delusional. So then it's all a bit like, oh, that's it.
But in the very last scene of the film, we find out that they're aware that 18 hours of footage was recorded. So it was clearly a cover-up.
It was a cover-up, yeah.
They want to continue sending people, but out of the public eye, I assume.
Yeah.
And they want to make it a purely government project.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned that this is a story by Carl Sagan, who I think you've read other material by, haven't you, Ford?
I have literally no idea who that is.
Oh, right, okay. Directed by Robert Zemeckis. John Hurt, S.R. Haddon, who finances the whole expedition, doesn't he?
Oh, he was John Hurt.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is that Tom Skerritt, who plays David Drumlin, the doctor who you said about, who keeps taking all the credit, Tom Skerritt and John Hurt are two actors who featured together in the film Alien, which we've also reviewed. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dallas and and Kane. Yeah, the two characters in Alien.
Oh.
Which I thought was also interesting. There's so many more things I'd like to say, but we're running out of time.
With the when she's away for 18 hours, we don't see a fraction of what happens then, do we? Clearly.
No. She said it felt like 18 hours, but you can't make an 18-hour film, can we?
No.
Yeah.
But we could have seen her lounging about or something. I don't know. But yeah.
So there was more. Maybe the journey took longer than we actually see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the time on the beach has been curtailed at all. I think we saw all of that conversation.
The last scene we see her in, where she's giving a tour to 10-year-olds, I found that really sad.
Yeah.
Like after all that, she ends up being a tour guide for a school.
Tour guide, yeah. But she knows the truth, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be hard.
And her boyfriend also knows it happened, doesn't he?
He believes her, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, he believes her. I did want to end our conversation, and it's far too soon for me.
Wrapping up.
Quoting what she says at the hearing at the end. I think that was a fabulous speech, which sums it all up, really. But there are a couple of other things before I get to that. She's willing to give her life to die for it. She has to trust in something that she cannot see. She has to take it all on faith, or do the. She's asking other people to believe in something that you can't prove. So all these things are religious connotations or religious experiences for a scientist to be recognizing, and yet right back at the beginning of the film, I've written it down when she's lying in bed with Palmer. Palmer says, "For the first time in my life, I knew I wasn't alone."
Oh, when he had his religious experience.
Yeah, I was scared of nothing, not even dying. It was God. And so almost she now can connect with Palmer in a new way because she can understand him more because of her experiences with the aliens, you see.
Yeah, I'd love to hear an atheist or an agnostic's opinion on this film, because I feel like this is a film where you see what you want to see, if you know what I mean. They don't give us any answers. They just ask questions.
In the universe of the film, it's undeniable that aliens exist.
True, yeah. But what is the film trying to say? That's what I'm asking.
They couldn't have built that machine unless it was real.
Yeah.
The signal was real. Yeah. But maybe to sum up, then I'll read the quote. What is the film trying to say? This is what she says in that court hearing. "I had an experience. I can't prove it. I can't even explain it. But everything I know as a human being, everything that I am, tells me that it was real. I was given something wonderful, something that changed me forever, a vision of the universe that tells us undeniably how tiny, how insignificant, and how rare and precious we all are. A vision that tells us that we belong to something that is greater than ourselves, that we are not, none of us, are alone. I wish I could share that. I wish that everyone, if even for one moment, could feel that awe and humility and hope. But that continues to be my wish." She says it a lot better than I just read.
Well, she's crying.
And she's an actress.
Yeah, and she's
and she's a fabulous actress as well.
Quite good at saying things.
And she adds much more emotion to it. The film is worth it just for that alone, I think. I love it. I love this film.
It's
I
a
want
real.
to watch it again now.
It's a real cop-out ending. I'm just if only they dedicated a bit more interesting effort to the final shot.
What you wanted them to do was to build a Stargate and start sending teams of soldiers to the world and fight aliens, didn't you? Is that what you wanted?
All I want is for her to show up and it to be like a technologically advanced place with actual aliens, and they say what they said. I mean, you're great. Humanity's great, but not yet.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Why wasn't it a technologically advanced race? They obviously were.
Yeah, but we don't see it, do we? It's the real.
We don't need to see it.
I do need to see it.
It's the opposite to show not tell, which is tell not show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just feels cheap.
Mark Kermode says he likes films that show not tell. In other words, expeditionary. No, what do you call it? What's that phrase?
Exposition.
Exposition. If your story relies on exposition, then it's a weak story. I'd say probably the opposite in this case, because we imagine more than we see.
Look, we spent the whole film wanting and waiting to meet these aliens. We get there, and it turns out it's just it's a beach, and it's her dad. Great, thanks for that.
Well, it was a beautiful scene.
And he doesn't even say anything that's useful. He just says, "Yeah, come back later, maybe."
Yeah, but this is how we've done it for billions of years. This isn't the first time.
Give me something. Like
everything you need.
This film's 2 hours long.
The film is called Contact. Yeah. I
Devon?
think it works on two levels. It's on Contact.
Come on.
It's the first time the human race meets another race. That's first contact.
Yeah.
And she's also in contact with her dad as well, even though it's not her dad. But do you know what I mean?
I gotta say, I kind of agree with Ford. It's the most annoying part of the film. It's like there's no.
The end.
I want to see like a civilization. I want to see. I don't know all the other planets that have life in it as well. Where actually are we? Or anything. But it's just like come back later. It's a bit annoying.
We don't need to serialize this story. It's beautiful as it is.
Look,
it's a good story. I like it for sure. But that is the most annoying part of the film.
The conversation she has with that alien, it implies so much, and yet we see so nothing. It's like there's loads of civilizations out here. It's a hub of who knows what goodness, and yet you're not going to see squat.
And you want all that in one film?
I just want to see maybe like a way station of lots of different aliens coming and going, and then there's this one meeting this lady.
Not Star Trek.
Well, but that's what the whole film's about.
It's not. It's a
climax here.
Telling of the alien experience.
It's a poor climax, is what I'm saying.
And I think it says more about the human condition than the alien condition. What you want is a story about aliens. This isn't a story about aliens. It's a story about faith and about believing something that you can't see, to the point that it is the most important thing in your life. That's what the story's about, faith. We should be able to relate to that.
Yeah, but Ford's not saying against that. Ford's not saying against that.
It's not a sci-fi film.
I'm sorry, but where you build a giant spinny space ball and go to a different universe, yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, how much of that is
it's a sci-fi
of the film? It's a faith story set in a
spinny space
future. It wasn't even near future; it was near past, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Experience, and I think it beautifully demonstrates the as Jodie Foster says I was going to end with that quote from her, wasn't I? I'm sorry.
You were, weren't you?
I think
again, you climax
one
too
more
high.
quote. This is something that Jodie Foster says during the commentary of the film. Is the scientific experience and the religious experience necessarily mutually exclusive, because they come to different conclusions? The only thing that's important is that the experience happened. That's what she says on the. So in other words, our faith experience, the most important thing is that it happened, not that we can explain it. And for her, it's the same. There we go.
But what happened to her was she saw a dream about her dad. That was it.
She went on to do tour guides around the tour. Okay, guys. Well, we got to wrap it up there. As I said, we should have dedicated much more time to this conversation. I'm sorry.
Yes,
all right.
I lingered longer than I needed to on earlier segments. Sorry.
How many spinny space balls out of 10 would you give this film?
I think this discussion needs another pop back chat in a future episode.
All right. Wowza.
Okay, spinny space balls out of 10. I it's not perfect. I was going to say I could give it 10. I can't give it 10. 9.25.
8.5.
I give it a 6, a generous 6.
Yeah, that's all right. That's more than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Really?
Look, I had a good time ish, kind of, not really. It would be
Let's watch it.
yeah, she watched it, yeah. She was very sad that Matthew McConaughey's hair looked so bad in the first scene. Where he's got really long hippie hair.
Okay.
Yeah, that was her takeaway from that.
Pop back chat needs to include discussion about the opening sequence, which we didn't discuss. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Okay.
Look, if it had a better ending, I'd be all on board, I think. But it was just, yeah.
Yeah, Ford likes his endings. His conclusion.
It's
Yeah.
worth watching for the first 3.5 minutes, and for her speech at the hearing, and for the mirror scene. Yeah.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
It's homework time and hasta la vista, baby.
Final sum up. We're gonna now just set our homework.
Yep.
For next episode, which is we're going back into the 80s again. We're going back to listen to an album that sold 25 million copies at the time in 1984. So you can guess who chose this one. And he's a bit of a Marmite artist. Some will love him, some will hate him. Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain album. And listeners, if you can listen to it, please do. But also, can I recommend you might watch the film that goes alongside it as well, which is a story of Prince. It's a dramatised version of his coming to prowess as a musician and as a band.
Are we going to do that?
I've got it if you want to borrow it, but
Alright.
it's not imperative. We're reviewing the music, not the film.
Okay, cool.
But they do complement each other very nice, and a lot of the music's on both. But yeah.
Well,
But I think you'll enjoy the album more if you've watched the film.
and I think we're going to have just as much to say about this one as we did the last one.
Right, you start picking stuff then that you like.
Oh dear.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for our controversial conversations. It's good that we don't always agree on everything.
Yeah. We'll watch Stargate next.
And we'd love to hear other contributions from other. Watch Stargate.
Yeah. See some real aliens.
Oh, I thought the guy, one of the other technicians, looks a bit like Daniel. What's his name off Stargate? Do you know the one?
Oh yeah, Daniel Jackson.
Daniel Jackson, but he's not. I looked it up, and he's not the same actor. I thought, there's another character.
The blind
from
guy
Stargate
or someone else?
No, the one who there's three of them sat around a monitor.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
there's so many other things. There's too many. There's too many other things I wanted to know. Yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, so if you want to feedback on any of that, please do. I'm going to Twitter some of the things, so if you want to look on Twitter, you'll hear some of my other comments on that, because I can't wait till Pop Back Chat to discuss it. I'll put my other thoughts on Twitter and we can have a conversation. Or on Facebook. You can catch us on Facebook. Look for Theory of Anything. You can email us at theoryofanything@hotmail.com. And if you're desperate, you can Twitter us on @theoryofanyting with a TING at the end of yeah, because not many people use Twitter.
What?
Oh, really controversial.
And of course, you can also catch us on all the major platforms. You'll know this because you're listening to us, all the major podcast platforms, and also on YouTube as well. Thank you, gentlemen.
Grand.
An extended, lengthier edition.
Yes.
That makes up for us being less than an hour last time, so never mind.
We're less than an hour by a few minutes.
Over an hour by about 20
We're on
minutes.
time for the first time in 25 episodes, and now we're double episode segment.
Okay,
Enjoy.
so it just remains for me to say, catch you around the microphone again next time.
Ciao.
Bye.